Now let me ask you something.
Oh Lord, Morgan.
How did you just so happen to find the girl that was messing with your man? Like it was just was it like a coincidence or like
It wasn't just so happened like when she was introduced to me,
hmm
we just hit it off, and I had
yeah,
no clue. So
yeah,
it's it's like sometimes how you say it's a small world. It ain't
yeah,
no. I really just so happened to become good friend, or not good
yeah.
friends, but meeting her, it was no like I knew, so I'm trying to get around. I had no idea, and I ain't
Mm.
gonna say too much because I need y'all to read the book.
Yeah, yeah,
But you know where
yeah.
I'm going.
I thought you was on like some little sneaky stuff.
No, I really, I really didn't know. I really did not.
So, why do you think your craft sisters, considered you to be too lazy to be captain?
I think that um, sometimes things like that is based on perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and from what somebody might see, they try to almost compare it to themselves. You know, you might work out every single day, and because
Mm-hmm.
I work out Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I'm lazy because I don't do it like you.
Right.
And
That's
I
yeah.
think sometimes people they they only, of course, they only gonna say what they see or what they know. And I think that it came from the fact that I had my own way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't make no apologies in that sense of how I chose to do certain things, whether it was behind closed doors or what, whether I helped behind closed doors. I'm not the type of person to say, "Hey, I did this. Oh, look at me, I did that."
Mm-hmm.
If you find out, you find out. If you don't, you don't. And I don't owe no explanation after that. And I
That's
think
true.
sometimes people want to see everything, and then that puts them in the mindset of now they feel like they know. No, you only know
Right.
what I let you know.
Right.
You don't know everything. And so I think people get in their minds how something should be. It's kind of like what we talked about my last interview with you. You know, people already have this notion of how things should be. So when
Right.
someone comes along and does something different, it's like, and some accept it and some don't. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I can say I'm a different person. I strive to be different.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the fact that I stand out. So when I do things differently from other people, some are gonna see it as I appreciate it, and some might see it as, oh, she do too much. She's lazy. She's this. She's that. And in the moment, things like that hurt. But then you
Mm-hmm.
realize you have to think about the confidence. It goes back to the confidence and
Right.
knowing I know what I've done, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody had to see my hard work to put me where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I can't try to convince you that I'm not that. You're gonna
Yeah.
think that, you're gonna think that. But at the end of the day, somebody saw what needed to be seen in order for me
Mm-hmm.
to be where I'm at. And that's
Cause
just
baby,
what
let
I
me tell you
think.
something. It was like a full circle. Like they said you was so lazy and all of this and that, but then once you was like up there and being a leader, like it changed people's mind. In my opinion, I
And
feel like it changed
sometimes
people's mind.
when one of my mentors, let me sometimes you just gotta go on and just do you and allow people to
Yeah.
see later on, because
Mm-hmm.
some people don't see in the moment. And
Mm-hmm.
like one of my mentors told me, you just gotta love people through their process, however it
Yep.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
Love them through their process. And so how that happened, I mean, it came right back around, and I just had to keep continuing to do me, regardless of what people are
Mm-hmm.
saying. Okay, you feel that way. I know what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
That's where that confidence comes. I know what I bring to the table, so I'm okay with that. You entitled
Mm-hmm.
to that, but I'm gonna show me how I can do things, and within that, it's gonna show you.
Yeah. Yeah. Reading this book, it really made me feel like the captain position, was both a blessing and a curse. In your eyes, do you feel like it was a blessing and a curse?
Never a curse.
Yeah.
I feel like this was all because I believe that this was all a part of God's plan. Anything He does is a blessing, and so
Hmm.
it looked that way in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I talk about it in my book. It looked like everything was going wrong. Everything
Right.
was just just tearing me apart, and but soon as I just started to depend and believe in just him, not even what I
Hmm.
saw next, because half the time I didn't see anything next. It was just the fact that I'm just gonna trust you. I'm frustrated. I'm just gonna trust you.
Hmm.
And that's when I started to see, like, this might be going wrong, but look at you. Like,
Yeah.
from the beginning of my that first season that I had as captive,
Right.
it didn't look too hot. And I expressed that. A lot of that's where the emotion was poured into, because I expressed
Hmm.
that in that beginning part. And I was so proud of myself because it didn't matter how other people saw my growth. I saw
Right.
the growth every single time. No
Hmm.
matter who thought, oh, she finally popped out or did it. I popped out every single time because my growth got greater and greater and greater. Not to anybody else's standards, but to mine and to his. And so that's what made it a blessing to me, because once it kept going, it's like, okay, I'm seeing what you're doing. Okay, okay, okay. And every time I kept seeing everything that he set in place for me, it was like, yeah, I see what you're doing. And that's why I'm gonna keep
Hmm.
believing you. And that's
Right.
what makes it a blessing, never a
Mm.
curse.
Period. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, Gabby, you cried so much in this book.
Yes, I did, honey.
So, a lot of people wanted to know, like, were you exaggerating or like, were you really that emotional?
No, I am really that emotional. Okay, I am.
Yeah.
It's not I am. I'm still that way.
Yeah.
Um, and it's more so just around the people that I can trust, that I can be vulnerable with.
Hmm.
You're rarely gonna catch me cry in public. But it's more so behind closed doors, and that was my way of not lashing out, not fighting, not doing the things that I physically wanted to do, retaliating towards some things and some people. So I
Right.
cried. If you read the book in the beginning, when I was facing the things at my church, and my mom reached behind me and said, "Sweetie, I want you to stop doing all that crying." That was to show
Yeah.
y'all I am a crier. Okay, I cried, like, I'm just emotional like that. I
Yeah.
really am, because I like to think about it as I have a big heart for things, whether
Yeah.
it's a person or just a thing. I care.
Hmm.
I put so much care into it, and I'll just let it get to me so quickly. And it's something that I'm still working on now. But yes, that was real. I literally, there's no exaggeration. I don't. In fact, I don't even think I told all the times. Like, there's still more times that I cried. So, yes.
But you know what? I'm glad that you released it instead of bottling it in. Because if you
Yeah.
would have probably bottled it in, it would have been probably a breakdown somewhere, you know?
Exactly. And that was what I was thinking. I need to release it in some way. I need to cry, and especially that part in the book where, my mom walked in on me and I just broke down, and
Yeah.
she just has me in her arms. And
Hmm.
she's just like, you let it out how you want to, but you let it out amongst us. Because if you notice, she would always say, "Don't you get around them doing all that crying." And I
Hmm.
feel like a child all over again,
Yeah.
because she'd say it just like that. And I would put it in the, she would always, like, go
Hmm.
back to if I was 5 years old, and
Yeah.
she'd talk to me like a grown woman, and then she'd say, "Nah, I raised you better than that. You gonna cry on the phone
Hmm.
with me, but suck it up, get in there and do what you gotta do."
Because in the book you will always say like they don't they don't deserve to see me cry. Like I always saw that throughout the whole book. Like they don't deserve to see me cry. So I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Um, if your experience was different, do you think you would still have written a book?
What do you mean by if my experience was different?
because some people feel like since you didn't get captain that second year, they feel like that's why you wrote this book. That's how they
And
feel. I don't feel like that.
I understand. And once again, like we talked about before, they're entitled to that. You know,
Yeah.
I wrote this book because that's how life really is. That's once
Mhm.
again how we talked about. That's how people relate to it. If my story was any different, it'd still be the same thing if you think about it, because life
Mhm.
is what that's what life is. If it had
Right.
not been that, it was gonna be something else. You
Mhm.
know, and let's put it in this case. If they feel that way, now if my story was that I got captain, something else
Mhm.
would have taken place,
That's
because
true.
at the end of the day, that was not God's plan.
Mhm.
So if it were to happen, something's gonna take place, because that's not a part of his plan. It happened how it
Right.
was supposed to happen. So I didn't
Mhm.
write it because of that. I wrote it because through that I had I was able to tell a story for young girls to relate to, because they're going
Mhm.
through it. Young men are
Right.
going through it. That's what it was about.
Mhm.
It was for them to understand and see, even when things don't happen the way you want to, they always happen how they're supposed to, because it's God's plan, not yours. And
Mhm.
that's why it's written. And that's why at the end of the day, even if my story was different, I still would write it. So that's to answer the
Mhm.
question. I would still write it, because it's still
Yeah.
gonna be trials and triumphs, no
Mhm.
matter what.
And somebody's still gonna need to hear it.
And somebody's still going. We all have a story. We
Yeah.
all have something that's going. But I guarantee you, if everybody were allowed to tell their story, the whole thing wouldn't be peaches and cream. No matter
Right.
how you flip it.
Right.
Even
Mm.
other people that did receive that next year,
Mhm.
it's still something that behind closed doors, maybe not. Maybe people will see as negative, but that's life. So
Yeah.
once again, even if you were to flip it a different way, I was still gonna go through something.
Mhm.
So I would still write it. Yes.
Period. Stand firm in your word.
Yes,
Period.
absolutely.
Um, some people wanted to know, has any dolls reached out to you after you've written the book and after they've read it?
Was that the end of your statement, or did you cut off?
That was the end.
Okay. Yes, I've had a few reach out to me, some with concerns, some still congratulating. So I have had some reach out to me, and either way it goes, I'm grateful for it. I am really grateful
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah. As you should. As you should. Now, are you planning on writing a second book?
No, because I'm assuming that you all would want a second book for like reflection, or something of
Yeah.
that sort. And
Yeah.
I feel as though I feel as though life taking you through experiences, your reflection of things is going to change. So if I wrote a
Mhm.
book reflecting on everything, some things I might still feel to this day that I was not wrong on. And
Mhm.
it might take me years from now to realize maybe I could have did this differently. That's just like a
Mhm.
mother and a child. You don't think the same when you were single versus now you gotta, or when you didn't have a child versus now you have a child. You don't think the
Yeah.
same when you're single versus when you're married. So things change that your way of thinking. And
Mhm.
I every time I go through something, I'm going to see something a little differently than what I saw it the last time.
Right.
And so I would say I wouldn't write one based on me reflecting on it. If I ever did, it would be a continuation of the things that I, may have continued to go through in life, But
Mhm.
as far as reflection, I think things like this is
Yeah.
what I would use to speak on reflection, because
Right.
at the end of the day, like we said, I could talk to you a year from now and the conversation is going to be totally different.
Totally different. Mhm.
Totally different, because maybe you have experienced some things in life and you like, you know what, Gabby, I look at this totally different now. Or vice
Yeah.
versa. Me, I could say, you know what, Morgan? I went back and read my book, and you could read it a year from now and pick up something different. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that's why it's like reflection. It's going to change. So I would just
Yeah.
love to continue having that dialogue with people because,
Mm-hmm.
hey, somebody else's opinion might change mine and be like, you know what? I didn't look at it that way. You see what I'm
You
saying?
know, Gabby, I think you should start a YouTube.
Oh Lord.
I really do because first of all, you talk. You can talk. You can talk. So I feel like you can have so many different
What you mean by that, Morgan? I can talk.
like you speak very eloquently and you
Oh,
speak
okay, okay,
very
okay.
fluid and um you have great like sense of, I'm trying to think of the word. You have trying to think of the word. Um
Good
you look at things
connection.
different.
Okay.
Yeah, you look at things totally different and you can give some great advice to young women. I feel like you can do really good on YouTube, honestly.
Oh, thank you, Morgan.
I really do.
I'll think about it, darling. Especially for those people that really support me, and I try to do things that really would put a smile on you all's face as well, because
Yeah,
I love the fact that no matter what, y'all have been solid.
yeah.
Because even with you, I really appreciated, when you were seeing everything about the book, and you said you messaged me, you like, this is a mess. It's just a mess, but you still didn't let it sway your
Hmm.
opinion. You said
Right.
to me, I want to read this on my own. And then you came back to me and said, despite everything they saying, I love it. And I
Yeah, I
love that.
loved it.
And I love that. And even if you would have came back to me and said, Gabby, this, and this, and that, the fact that you were so real in the beginning and said, I see everything that they saying, but this don't change
Yeah.
how I feel about you. This don't
Mm-mm.
change at the end of the day. This doesn't change the fact that I want to know for myself. And I
Yeah.
really commend you on that, because
Thank
that's
you.
that's very mature. That's very
Yeah.
mature of you.
I've never been the type to ride the wave. I've always
Yes.
been like that type to like be a leader, like you
Yes.
in a sense. So, if somebody say something bad, they just say something bad. I
They said
really don't
something
care.
bad.
I still do. Look, let me tell you something. I defend you in my group so much because these people are crazy, Gabby.
Oh, I
These people are
know.
crazy.
Oh, I know. I know. It's nothing new to
They
me.
are crazy. So we see as a community that you and Asia are really good friends. Um, did she read the book?
So no, me and
Okay.
Asia have a relationship, but her book is her book. My
Yeah.
book is my book. I did allow her to read a few excerpts from my book,
Yeah.
as and vice versa. But as far as what her book is about, I don't know. She doesn't
Yeah.
know as far as mine. She just knows, what I have told her, and I know what she has told me. But those are
Hmm.
two. We try to, keep that very separate. The friendship is the friendship, and things like this, like our books, that's considered business. And speaking
Right.
for myself, that's considered business, and we're grown women. So at the end of the day, what she has going on, that's what she has going on, and what I have going on, that's me.
Yeah. 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 So in the book, it seems as though the new sponsor sometimes chose a side. Um, how did that make you feel like when she chose a side? Like with you, she'll say one thing, but with them, it's like totally different. Like how did that make you feel?
So I wouldn't necessarily, say that it was just the new sponsor. I think that overall, the leadership over me had
Yeah.
their ways of doing certain things. And the new sponsor, I actually, I had a huge amount of respect for her, because she was honest with me.
Yeah.
She, it's not that she, pick sides or whatever. She would explain to me, hey, this is why this is this way, or this is why I say this, and this is why I say that. And I had to do nothing but respect it. And, even
Hmm.
when letting me know, hey, you could do this better, made me better.
Yeah.
And, but I would say that, it was leadership all around. And that's
Yeah.
something that people just don't understand sometimes, being
Hmm.
in this leadership role, you're like the tie between leadership and then the team. And
Mhm.
so it's like some of the things they say you might not like and you might think are wrong, but it's honestly like I had to get to a point where I didn't let it bother me so much because it
Mhm.
was like this is the way that it is. Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
don't like some things, but this is the way that it is. And it was the harsh reality to me of either you deal with some things or you can go.
Mhm.
You can be you know just a regular teammate, you know?
Yeah.
And so I had to internally figure out for myself what is it that I wanted to do. And if I was going to choose to stay, I couldn't let something like that just, continue to bother me because it bothered me at some
Mhm.
points. But it's like, I can't dwell on that. If I dwell on that, I'm not going to be able to get nothing done. See what I'm
Right.
saying? So that was pretty much how I saw that it happens and you don't like it. But
Yeah.
you're not gonna like everything that's presented to you. And that's what I was learning through my whole process.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna like everything that happens to me. And I'm not gonna like
Right.
every way people do me. But it's not about, what they do. It's how I choose to respond. It's how I
Right.
choose to deal with it. That's gonna make the difference in this situation.
Mhm.
If I allow it, what you say or who you choose over me to bother me, I'm always gonna stay in the same place because I'm still stuck on the fact that it's bothering me. But
Mhm.
if I choose to go, okay, take the meat, spit out the bone,
Yep.
I move
And
on.
too. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Yep. I love the fact that towards the end of the book, you chose not to retaliate towards your former roommate and treating her the way she treated you. Um, what would you say was the hardest part of that process? Not retaliating.
Wanting to. Like, literally, that's the hardest thing ever. And let me tell you something. The Lord would frustrate me because
Mhm.
every single time I wanted to get even or do
Mhm.
something, He would always place somebody there to stop
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
I didn't. I appreciate it now, but I'm
Mhm.
like, then it would make me so mad because I was learning to listen to my parents a little bit more. And so,
Mhm.
um, for example, in that moment where I experienced not being picked,
Right.
and in my mind I was thinking, do I congratulate her? Do I congratulate? I didn't get anything. Blah 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 blah. And so I
Right.
said, you know what? And I said it. And then
Mhm.
I left out, and when I called my mom, and I'm going crazy and I'm crying and all this stuff, and she gives me her, advice, and then she tells me, takes me back to that 10-year-old girl. Now you go in there and you do her how you would want her to do you if it was you. And
Mm.
this exact, and she said, and I better not hear you do anything otherwise.
Mm. Mm.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with this woman. But
Right.
it was upsetting me in the moment because it's just like, dang, mama, you're supposed to be on my side. You're supposed to be, because my
Exactly.
cousins and my aunts, they, what we doing? That's how they were. And but my
Yeah.
mom was always the one. My mom and dad were always the ones to stop everything. It's not worth it. It's not worth
Mhm.
it. At the end of the day, my mom would tell me this same line all the time. We didn't raise you like that.
Mm.
I don't care what they do. You don't do that.
Yeah.
And if you do it to them, you need to apologize because right now there's something for you and you ain't gonna get it acting like everybody else.
Mm.
And then after she would tell me that, and my mom was she's a praying woman. She believe in God, but she'll give me like the street reality of it first,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then kind of tie in the Bible later. My dad gonna give you the word. So when I got home to my dad, this him, God, and I'm like, oh God, yes. but then I'm like, I still listen, and then it made so much sense. He's like,
Mhm.
what if he would always put it in this way? What if this is God trying to see how you're gonna trust him in this moment?
Yeah.
Because so many people thought it was a punishment or whatever. But what if this is God using you to show somebody else, hey, I'm gonna move her down and she's still gonna be great.
Right.
And
Period.
that's how he introduced it to me. And that's why that last chapter in the book is called Favor or Retribution. You decide.
Mm.
You decide whether God was shunning me or was he favoring me. Just because I
Mm-hmm.
was demoted in your eyes doesn't mean I was demoted in his. But if
Right.
I look at it that way and I present myself in that way, then that's what it is. But if
Mm-hmm.
what I realized about my life was even that moment when I did what my parents said and stayed on that journey of not really wanting to be this nice person, but believing that I got to genuinely be that good person in order to see my
Mm-hmm.
blessings. And every single moment I was seeing God do something great for me. It was an amazing year for me because I could have a smile on my face and feel so loved
Yeah.
in spite of me not getting what I thought I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it was. And I appreciated everything he was doing for me. And it was only for him to say, look, I'm going to put you in this position because I know who you are. And because you know who you are, it don't matter where I put you.
Mm.
Because this is going to show somebody else that at the end of the day, I can have you here or I can have you here. And you still going to be the
A
person that I
leader.
set out for you to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what that's what made me, in despite me wanting to, because let's be
Mm-hmm.
clear, no one wants to just sit back. You put somebody in a corner, they gonna come out swinging at the
Right.
end of the day. So it's not like I was just like, okay, this is what's happening. Mm-mm. It was me seeing that and going, okay, I can come out one way and be an example to somebody else.
Mm.
And I like that look better
Yeah.
because I was starting
Yeah.
to realize that from that first year when that um, dancer sat across from me and she took on my demeanor, but with style and with poise and with grace, which means that I can get my point across. I can
Mm-hmm.
do what I need to do without trying to be so tough, without retaliating, without coming at somebody. And
Right.
once I learned how to do that, it makes you feel happier, better,
Mm.
okay with yourself, and okay with what God is doing for
Mm. Oh, Gabby with the words today, girl.
you.
Baby, I loved this book so much, Gabby. I want to thank you for writing it, honey, because we all needed it. It opened a lot of discussion. Um,
And that's what
Thank
I
you.
really, I really want people to open their eyes. So many
Yeah.
people, and for those people who went in it, be honest with yourself. If you went into it with closed eyes, with a closed
Mm-hmm.
mindset, because it offers so much more. It
Yeah.
offers so much more. When you talk about, friendships, I touch
Mm-hmm.
on that, because of how I was. I was that
Mm-hmm.
person that wanted friends but didn't know how to be one.
Yeah.
And I talk
Oh,
about
wow.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted, and in my mind it was like God was saying, okay, you want friends, but look how you acting towards people, and then you get mad when they treat you the same way. So what you gonna
Mm.
do? And so I wanted people to see, okay, when it came down to me having to be a friend to my captain, I genuinely wanted to be a friend to her. Despite how other people felt, it don't matter. Until you do
Yeah.
something to me, I'm going to love you through whatever you do, whether I like it or
Mm-hmm.
not. That's a real friend. That's a true
Yeah.
friend. When
Mm.
other people can talk about you, other people can do whatever. You might not like what I do, but you're going to come to me as that friend, and then you're going to say, but friend, I love you.
Mm.
And that's that. That's a topic of discussion. Forget forget who you think you know, who is this, who is that. It's characters, because at the end of the day, the book is not about that person. It's
Right.
about the storyline
Exactly.
behind it. It's about
Yes.
what am I in these situations, what am I going to pick up? Because it's not about you to focus on who you think I'm talking about.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not the focus. We all got a story. We all got people that has contributed to something in our lives, but that's not the focus. And when you take
Yeah.
your mindset out of that, you start to look at things a little bit differently. You start to look at life differently because you see, okay, it's more to it than meets the eye. I see you talking about this one particular person, but what is the story behind why you're talking about it?
And like you said earlier, read the whole thing.
Read the
Don't be
whole
reading
thing.
little excerpts and stuff.
Oh, I heard she said, girl, let me show you what I think she's talking about you.
Right.
And it's like it just creates for a space of just negativity. And
Mm-hmm.
I always like to revert it back to us, our people. We're so talented. Black people are
Yes.
so smart. So we have so much going for ourselves. But my dad will always tell me one thing that we don't like to do is read. You know, it's like, and this is what all black people do. You sitting down in the area, one black person take off, everybody running. You don't
Everybody
care what
going.
you don't care what's going on. You don't want to see. You want to check and make sure. Oh, we all running. And
Mm-hmm.
to a certain degree, it's like our downfall because we
Yeah.
can't even do our research, look and see,
Mm-hmm.
check and make sure.
Right.
And we could be so, we already great. We're already top. I don't care what others want to say. We already topping the charts. But just
Yeah.
imagine how much greater we could be if
Yes.
we sat down and read some things, looked at some
Yeah.
things, tried to open our mind to things and look at it differently. Look at it from
Mm-hmm.
a different aspect,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the whole essence of going back to forget your troubles, just dance. That's the
Just
whole
dance.
find that find whatever is troubling you in life
Right.
and figure out how you're going to get through it positively. Because what I tell people is this ain't no negative book, baby. This is positive.
Right.
This is positivity because it's showing you that through the things that you think are negative, you really don't even know how God is working that thing out for your good.
Period.
And that's why this is positive. That's why
Yeah.
you need to check it out. And
Yep.
so
Y'all have
I
got
just
to check it out. Yes.
let them
Yes.
know, promote it, tell them, go
Seriously,
read.
like read it. It is really good. Like she talked about so many different topics, relationships. Um, what else? What else? What else? Help me out, Gabby. Relationships. You talked about friendships, like you said.
Friendships
Roommate, being a roommate.
and leadership, and that's something I
Yeah.
kind of want to touch on that real quick because I see so many people, and they get it confused, and I think sometimes they try to put people against this and that person.
Yeah.
And like I said before, when you're in a leadership role, some people don't understand. It's like when you're at let's say you at Walmart and you went about a week ago to get a shirt, right? And that shirt was $5, but you go back and it's $10. Oh, so now I'm about to cut up. So you go to the cashier and you like, you know what? This was $5 last week. Now you got it at 10. They looking at you like, I'm just the cashier. Like, I
Right.
and that's what it is to be in the leadership position, in the captain
Mhm.
position, or any position that you have your leadership. So you
Mhm.
get placed in a position sometimes where people look at you and think you. And it's like, no. But it's hard for you to explain that to people because until you get that experience, you'll never understand. When you're in this position, sometimes you don't even know why something is being done. But your job is
Mhm.
just to relay the message.
Right.
Your job is just to do what your leadership has told you to do. And that's not wrong on their part because you
Mhm.
chose to be in that position. You chose to, so you're almost like that line of communication. Just like in college, your teachers are that line of communication through administration. It ain't easy to get to administration.
Right.
And sometimes we get mad at our teachers, but it's just like they let us know, hey, this wasn't my doing. This wasn't what I wanted. But I gotta follow who has put the instructions in front of me. And
Right.
so it's like sometimes you do almost learn who who is for you in those sense, because you have to just trust and believe at the end of the day, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my job. I can't
Mm.
it think about it. If I responded to you how you wanted me to, then I would be nothing but a follower. So why am I in a leadership position?
Right. Mm.
I can't respond the way everybody would respond. That's why I was placed in this position. And
Mm-hmm.
it's going to rub some people the wrong way, and it's going to hurt some people. But anybody that has ever been in that leadership position will knows. They should know. A lot of the times you are placed in a position where you got to just do what is told to you. And you can
Mm-hmm.
try to make those changes, but you can't explain so much to other people. And
Right.
so that's another topic that I want people to get into. And it's like we said, it's so many different topics.
There's so many
It's
different layers to it.
topics
Yeah.
about church, just feeling
Yeah.
like, most people think, oh, I'm going to get in there. Everybody going to love me because everybody Christian. Not everybody that go to church is a Christian. Just as well as
Okay.
not everybody that hang around you is your friend.
It's speak.
And that's just that. Because
Yeah.
I wanted the big crowds of friends. Some people told me, Gabby, I was just frustrated with you. You always was talking about having somebody as a friend. Blah 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 blah. Like, I was just getting so mad at you, and I'm like, I did, but then I realized my mom had to tell me, in your lifetime, once you get to a point where you're done, you probably gonna have 3 solid people,
Mm-hmm.
if that.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, those people with all of them 15, 12, all of that around you.
Ciao. So we're gonna
Right.
go into the last question. If you could pick one doll from each year within the decade to be a part of your all-star team, who would be a part of your team? Stands, field, it doesn't matter.
So it has to be both, or you want me to do a stands team and a fields team?
Do what you let's do stands and let's do field. Let's do both of
So
those.
we'll do stands first. Oh, you want them to
Yeah,
have
let's do
both?
we
Stands
could do
first.
stands first. Stands first.
Okay. And am I included in this team?
Yes, you are included.
Okay.
Yep, you are included. Hmm.
Okay. So I would, for 19, for the field, or stands, right? You said stands.
Hmm. Yeah, this is stands first.
Ariana.
Oh yes.
Ariana. Um, for 18, Cameron and Ariel come as a package deal. Um, and also because there's no crabs in 11, so that's our
Right.
makeup.
Yeah. Yeah.
17 stands Jada.
Oh yes.
Um, and Jada just, I think it was because she danced behind me in 18. She just
Hmm.
blends so well to me, and Kaylin is
Yes.
amazing. But Jada
Yes.
just, when it comes down to thinking about me, and she just
Hmm.
blends so well,
She
no
was
matter
like the
wherever she
perfect
is.
middle girl for me.
Yes, yes, I loved it because
Yeah.
she pops. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
16 Teneria stands
Definitely.
Teneria. Um, 15 Taylin.
Mm.
I love Taylin because she
I
just
just love
has
the body.
the body, the face, the
Yeah.
dynamic. She's just so spunky, and she just has this little pep in whatever she
Yeah.
does. And then she just can switch it and give you just this grown woman, and I just love that.
Hmm.
14 Maya.
Definitely.
Um, 13 John.
Hmm.
12. Dang, that's a hard one.
That's a hard one, baby. Oof.
I'm gonna base it off of their crap year when it was all of them, and I loved
Hmm.
Kayla Vaughn.
Oof. Yes.
I loved Kay, so I'm gonna say Kayla
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yeah.
Where I'm at 12. Okay, 11. That no craps. 10. Angelica.
Oof. Yeah. She's that
Angelica.
girl. Yeah.
Yes,
She's definitely that
gorgeous.
girl. Now let's go into field.
Fields. 19. Dang, because they both are beasts on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Ariana. I'll say
Yeah.
Ariana. But Lindsay, definitely. If I could pick somebody else, definitely Lindsay. Definitely
Yeah.
Lindsay. Once again, Ariel and Cameron, and then you can't do one or the other on that one. I mean, both of them
Exactly.
just annihilate the field.
Okay.
Like it's no going around it. I'm sorry. I'm not even just saying that because they came up under me.
Yeah.
It's a no. That's
Mm-mm.
a no-brainer. 17, Jada.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 16, Micah.
Yeah.
Definitely hands down, she's killer Phil.
Yeah. I
Killer.
love her on the field. Yeah.
Killer. That 18 year, I knew because I remember there was the reason why I did this. It was 17 year. There was a picture, and we would always rave about it when she did her back bend, and her back was just
Yeah.
like she was just back there. So the first dance, 18 year, I'm like, oh, you got to, your hand need
Mm-hmm.
to be, and I already knew it was
Touching.
gonna be easy because no explanation. Definitely on the field. Okay. What was that? 16.
Mm-hmm.
15. Jordan.
Oof.
That was a
Yeah.
no. I'm not even thinking
Yes.
about it. Jordan
No
for
ifs, ands, or buts.
sure.
Yeah.
Jordan for sure. I gotta say, I used to love to watch her my freshman
Mm-hmm.
year. Like she would pop up, do it like it was nothing. And I'm over here still struggling on 8 counts. Like and I'm telling
Child.
you, like it's nothing. Like just pull it right out of her. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
14, Aisha. She was
Mm.
killer on the field. Killer on the field,
Mm.
14 year. Um, 13, Danny.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Danny.
She was. Yeah. She was definitely
13,
good on the field in 13.
Danny for the field. It wasn't even just the like technique. I love the spark, the attitude that she
Mm-hmm.
gave. Like through every movement, it was like she gonna give you a face or an eye
Yeah.
or something. I just love the personality with her.
Mm-hmm.
12, Danielle Langford.
Yeah.
Danielle for
Yeah.
sure. Danielle
I love
Langford.
her so much.
Yes. Danielle Langford for sure with that one. 11, 10. April.
Ooh.
April. April for the
Yeah.
field because she just stood out on the field.
Definitely.
She just stood
Yeah.
out. And then I'm thinking about 13's field shows. So
Ooh. Child.
they were good. So yeah,
Yeah.
April. So yeah, but everybody is phenomenal, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody's phenomenal. But
Yes.
since I only could pick one, then yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, Gabby, I just want to thank you once again. Oh my God, this was a very much needed interview.
Yes, this
Please
was
go and
fun.
it was. Please go and check out Gabby's book. Forget your troubles and just dance, honey.
Please, please, please,
Yes.
please. And you can get it from it's on different platforms, but mainly everybody knows about Amazon. So you can get the ebook, you can get the printed copies as far as the paperback, the hardback. If you would like a personal signed copy, you can get it from my website. Now, right now, they are all sold out on my website.
Mm.
However,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
you do want a signed copy, there's a contact form on the website. And just write that you would like a hardback or a paperback, and I'll get that to you immediately. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
just let me know that. And please go leave your reviews on Amazon, please. That matters so much. Even leave your testimonials and your reviews on my website. There's a portion
Yes.
where you can leave it on my website. So please, please, please go do that.
Yes, and I'll definitely be putting it in the bio, okay? In our bio.
Yes,
So, yes, definitely. We have to I want everybody to read this. I,
please,
I'm
please.
even
It's
getting
a
my
good
roommate
read.
to I'm getting my roommate to read it. He don't even look at dance teams, okay?
Good. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Yes.
Period.
Promote.
Period. Thank you once again, Gabby.
No problem. I had a great time. So I'll talk to you
Me too.
soon.
All right. Peace out, Gab.
Bye.